Because one of my greatest fears is I go home to heaven and God shows and he says like, what were you doing the whole time down there? And he goes like, here's a mirror of you. You could have been this, but you missed
Yeah.
the mark and you were this. And that gives me so much like good energy of fear of like, man, I don't want to do that. I want to live up to what he's put in me. And that only comes from obedience, because we will never live our best self without being obedient to something. We will never know our true greatness inside and our pushing our limits and our boundaries without being obedient to something. Because I'm obedient to the run. Because the
Mm.
run isn't about me. The run is about the men that we're going to show, and to show people through God, this is what you could achieve. And it's just like you brought up earlier when you brought up about the girls that jumped out of the marathon with my wife. They thought it was about them. I didn't do
Mhm.
training enough. I didn't do this. Just listen to your statements. If your statements are a lot of like eyes, 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 I can tell you what the problem is.
Right.
It's because you're so deeply focused on the things you don't have, and it's about you that, like, of course you're going to jump out, because it's not about serving others. It's not, the girls didn't say like, oh, we're with Mel, she wants to run it, it's her last one, let's serve her. They said like, no, I didn't do it, I'm going to jump out. And so
Yep.
to me, like, that's the reason obedience is so important, because it is when we go like, hey, I have a mission, I can't fit. Chris, guys come to me all the time like, yeah, man, but like I don't know how to figure out my mission. Like I don't know like thing to do. And I go like, how many times have you heard a prompting to do something and you haven't done it?
Yeah.
And they go like, oh, do it all the time. I said, yeah. So like if you're not, if my son's in the other room and he moves over and I'm looking through the door and I can see him, he's in alignment with me. When he moves, he's out of alignment. So when we are obedient, we are now in alignment, and now we can feel the purpose easier. We can now understand our purpose easier. But most of us are trying to figure out something while standing still. And we got to get into a little active obedience. And then that image, that feeling, that clarity will come.
Facts, facts, and I'll tell you so again, so many good things in this. First thing that came to mind as you were telling me your perspective, I thought about that Les Brown story about laying in the hospital bed and having the spirits of all the things
I
around you
love it.
that God sent your way and that you chose to let go by you. Then it
Hmm.
haunts him, right? It haunts him a little bit, and so I resonate with that a whole bunch. And then I tell the story to my students often of the time I met my wife. Because if I had not taken the initiative on that day to hear that small spirit that said, hey, that person's special, you need to approach her. You need to be authentic. You need to be yourself. You need to not run any games, because there's something about that person that's going to change your life. And if I had not done that, my whole life would have been completely different. Right. And then I
Hmm.
always wonder, what if today I'm going to miss another one of those opportunities to capitalize on something that God's teed up for me, right?
Yeah.
That is it's now it's there for you if you take it. You've got to go get it. It says your free agency to make that choice, but
Yes.
I'm really recommending you go do it, bro. Right? And so I definitely live with that sense of urgency in my life of feeling like make sure you're aligned and that you don't miss the opportunities to receive your blessings.
Yes.
Because to your other piece about obedience, I believe that if you prayed to God for a purpose, you prayed to God for whatever, and then you start running, and then you set a goal to continue running. So now you're probably praying to have the strength to keep running, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, guess what? God's blessing you with that strength to keep running. So now you got to be obedient to it because you're being blessed with the strength to keep running because you asked for it.
Yep.
Right?